Hi, everyone, and thank you for joining us. My name is Valeria Wiens. I'm Associate Director of Evaluation here at Tuck's Admissions Office. And on behalf of Tuck, welcome. Today's session will consist of two parts. The first one is a short presentation from me about Tuck and what makes us wonderful. And for the second part, we'll leave plenty of time for you to ask your questions, and I'll be answering them as they come in. So let's dive in. So our goal today is to guide you in understanding of how the Tuck MBA will help you develop and practice your WISE leadership. And so the mission of Tuck is to educate WISE leaders to better the world of business. Our world needs principled business leaders, leaders who do well and do good, people who find successes for themselves and their organizations, and who also make a positive impact in the world. So hopefully today's session will help you understand how Tuck will prepare you to become this type of values-driven leader by outlining what makes the Tuck experience distinctive. And then, hearing some of the stories of Tuck alums, current students, and how a Tuck MBA impacted their careers in leadership and development. So the key to Tuck's mission is the notion of WISE leadership. WISE leaders embody essential aptitudes of confident humility about what you know and what you don't know, empathy towards the diverse ideas and experiences of others, and judgment about when and how to take risks for the better. Tuck's unique combination of this personal scale and location in an environment that's away from the distractions of a big city really allows our students to immerse themselves in our collaborative and supportive community, but it also provides them with a platform to practice and develop these aptitudes of WISE leadership. So how will Tuck help you grow as a leader? Well, first, you'll be challenged. We've deliberately designed the academic experience to stretch you beyond your limits. Tuck's comprehensive first-year core curriculum will provide you with a rigorous foundation in all the essential aspects of business, both hard skills like accounting, marketing, strategy, operations, but also behavioral skills like communications and leadership. In the second year, you'll be able to customize your program to meet your particular interests with a wide range of electives and many opportunities for independent study. So you can further your exploration knowledge through Tuck centers, which offer distinct pathways of learning in areas such as energy, entrepreneurship, healthcare, digital strategy, private equity, and business and government and society. And these centers enhance learning and provide opportunities to gain and apply your knowledge through fellowships, research, events, visiting executives, and just so much more. So the key to your development, or one of the keys to your development, will be learning from our exceptional faculty. Tuck's professors are world-renowned scholars and researchers. They're dedicated teachers too, so they bring their knowledge into the classroom. This personal interaction with faculty is a distinction of learning at Tuck, and it's enhanced by our scale, location, and of course, focus on the MBA. We offer one program, a 2-year full-time MBA. That's it. We do not have PhDs, undergrad, or part-time degree. So all of our faculty resources and programs, they're focused exclusively on your learning. And with a small student body in a place like Hanover, you have more opportunities to connect with professors both in and out of class. So a great example of this close interaction with faculty is the work that Hope and Shaban did with Professor John Lynch. Professor Lynch is a former governor of New Hampshire, as well as a successful CEO, and he teaches one of the most popular classes on campus, the CEO Experience. And so after taking his class, Hope and Shaban wanted to continue the learning in leadership in various environments. And what they ended up doing is they designed an independent study with Professor Lynch, in which they interviewed a dozen leaders from the corporate and public sector. And those included people like Massachusetts Governor Deval Patrick, Virginia Senator Mark Warner, and former Treasury Secretary Tim Geithner, to whom Professor Lynch made personal introduction. So through this process, Hope and Shaban identified key leadership traits that predict success and collaborated with Professor Lynch on a case study on this topic. So this example really illustrates the willingness of our faculty to engage closely with students. They support and encourage them. They really give generously both their time and resources. So it's also an example of some of the experiential learning opportunities that are available here. So Hope and Shaban's work with Professor Lynch is an excellent example of the type of experiential opportunities available at Tuck. Learning at Tuck is dynamic. Tuck's multiple opportunities for experiential learning let you take what you learn in a classroom and then apply to the real world business challenges. You will learn to ask the right questions. You'll learn to build the right teams and to take risks and to create impact. For example, the first year project, or FYP, is a required class where you put into practice learning from your first year core curriculum. Now, many schools have capstone projects, and what makes ours different is the flexibility that students have in actually electing their projects. So at Tuck, you choose your projects and then you choose your team too. So you can opt for a client-sponsored project or maybe an entrepreneurial venture. It can be local, it can be national, global. It can be for a Fortune 100 company or maybe an early stage startup. So if there's a particular industry you want to get experience with, you can do that. So it could be an excellent opportunity for those students who are maybe looking to make a career switch. So to date, our students have completed, as you see, more than 750 projects throughout the United States and around the world. And some of the companies the students have worked with include Under Armour, Wayfair, Ford Motor Company, PayPal, just to name a few. So one interesting example of the FYP Go, so first year project Go, is Irving Oil. 5 first-year students consulted for the Irving Oil company to research how electric vehicles are disrupting the oil and gas industry. And so the Tuck team traveled first to Canada to meet company executives and see their refinery process. Then they went to Norway, the global leader in the electric vehicle market. And there in Norway, they met with different stakeholders to understand how they were impacted and how they adapted to this new technology. And so at the end of the 14 weeks, the team presented their findings and strategic recommendations to Irving's senior leadership. Other students may choose to do an entrepreneurial FYP. So if you have an idea for your own business, this is really a great opportunity to test it. And several you can test both your ideas and active businesses. Several of them got their start this way. So recently, 2 students had an idea to bring car care service directly to customers at their workplace with a mobile garage. So they pitched their idea to the Dartmouth Entrepreneurial Network and won a founder's grant. And they tested their ideas during FYP, began a pilot program, and then officially launched the company during their second year. These 2 students, Russ Walker and Ed Warren, since they graduated, their company has expanded their operations now to Massachusetts and Rhode Island. So as you can see, it grew outside of Hanover and is now moving even further. So another key part of the Tuck experience is this global learning, right? So global learning is here and it happens during your 2 years at Tuck. It's critical for WISE leaders to have a global mindset to successfully navigate the different cultures, economies, and markets in which they will work. Tux facilitates this learning with Tuck Go, which requires every student to take at least one immersive experiential course in another country during their time at Tuck. So students may choose from a portfolio of different opportunities offered around the world to satisfy Tuck Go. Like the Irving Oil project, you can consult internationally through the FYP or through the second-year on-site global consulting elective. You can travel with a faculty member on a global insight expedition, or you can spend a full term overseas in one of our exchange programs. So if you've talked to, if you've talked to anyone about Tuck, you've heard about the Closeknit Community or the Tuck fabric. The essence of what distinguishes Tuck is our collaborative, really trust-based community. And in this environment, there is no self-selecting of who you work with. You'll have to work across differences. And as a student, you will be expected to contribute at least as much to the experience as you get from it. So students create and nurture a closeness that's difficult to replicate somewhere else. Study groups spend hours upon hours helping each other learn the material, prepare for class. Students assist each other in a job search, even in cases when they're applying for the same positions. From living and learning together in this small immersive environment, students truly do develop a deep level of trust with each other. And when you trust your classmates, you feel safe. You feel safe to stretch yourself, to step outside of your comfort zone, which is where you're really able to learn. Over the years, students have created traditions that are passed down from class to class and bring the community together, like Winter Carnival, where they host MBA students from other schools across the country. There are late night hockey games where our students cheer each other on. There are small group dinners where students, partners, faculty, and staff bond in a more intimate setting over a homemade meal. Or international students sharing their culture with the entire Tuck community at annual events like the Diwali party or the Argentinian asado. So community at Tuck is really, it's lived with intention. And this intentional community is integrally tied to Tuck's location and scale. If you come here, you will be stepping away from your career for 2 years and investing in an incredible amount of time and resources to obtain your MBA. You owe it to yourself to be all in, to commit fully and to experience and really to get the most out of it. And Tuck location is free from the distractions of a big city, and it really allows you to immerse yourself and truly focus on learning and developing relationships with your classmates and with the faculty. And because we are a small town, students either live on campus or nearby, and they don't scatter when the class is over. They remain together throughout the day into the evening, creating an immersive living and learning environment. And this location, it fosters immersion with visiting executives as well. So that's something to keep in mind. When they come to Tuck, they are committed to a full visit, not just to give a speech and head back to the office. So visitors, when they come, usually they stay and invest their time, and you are able to personally interact with them in small groups over lunch, dinner, maybe individual chats during office hours. So you will have this opportunity for personal access to hundreds of business and government leaders during your time at Tuck. This access applies to recruiters and the career services team as well. Of course, a big part of the MBA is the opportunity to advance or change your career. At Tuck, there are no prescribed paths. Many students will arrive to Hanover with a clear vision for the industry or the position they plan to pursue. But there will be others who come interested in exploring career path. So whether you're focused on a particular career from day one, or you come here to discover a path that you haven't considered. The career advisors, as well as your classmates, professors, alumni, they will provide the support and resources that you will need to sort of set you on a successful post-MBA path. And Tuck's career advisors provide tools, resources, and support to empower you to identify and reach your goals. So they will bring together a wealth of industry experience to develop this personalized post-MBA career strategies, while industry tracks will take you to the world's most dynamic cities, to tour firms, and engage with industry leaders. And our outcomes, the outcomes of our students, they really do speak for themselves. For the last several years, our graduates have achieved employment levels and compensation rates that are among the highest for top 10 MBA programs. And our students are going to great companies like Amazon, Google, Bain, BCG, McKinsey, Bank of America, Merrill Lynch, Goldman Sachs, Barclays, General Mills, CVS, Genentech, Samsung, just to name a few, but I think you get where I'm going. In addition to this Tuck's famously responsive Alumni Network plays a big part in this career success. So the supportive community we talked about just before, it really doesn't end after your 2 years at Tuck. Tuck alums remain engaged with the school, students, and each other truly for life. Tuck's network is recognized as one of the most effective and engaged among the top MBA programs, and it is for a reason. So our graduates are accomplished leaders of business, government, and society. Yet, even at the highest levels, they are accessible to students. They are incredibly generous with their time. They come back to campus to share their experiences. They take students' calls, provide advice. They help, they make connections. So it stretches far beyond. And this notion of paying it forward, it really is ingrained in the Tuck psyche. So I'll give you an example. One of our students was doing an internship with a top investment bank in New York, and a managing director, who was also a Tuck alum, took the student out to lunch multiple times over the summer to really discuss their experience, provide feedback, and to really help ensure that the student got a full-time offer and was actually fully immersed in his internship experience as well. And this was outside the bank's formal process. So just an example of an alum going above and beyond to help another Tuckie. And stories like this are commonplace at Tuck. This is really not unusual. It happens over and over. The alums do this because our alums, other alums, helped them in the past. So they will do so again in the future. They're giving back, and once students graduate, they continue to pay it forward and give back. So hopefully this has given you a small taste of what makes the Tuck experience distinctive, and I hope it's guided you to envision how Tuck will help you achieve your aspirations and to better the world of business. There's so much more to learn, so I invite you to further experience our community by connecting with our students, connecting with our alumni. I also strongly encourage you to visit campus and take advantage of our open interview policy. So before you go, for more information about Tuck, connecting with current students, applying, please visit our website. And now let's turn it over to you to get to your questions and hopefully to prepare you to submit your application to Tuck. Here we go. So for the questions, question one, is there an opportunity for non-fellows to attend Revere Center for Energy events, tracks, etc.? Absolutely. So all of our centers are open for students to attend their events, go on tracks. Some of the smaller events might be close to the number of attendees. Usually there are on a come first, sign up first basis. But generally, yes, you don't have to be a fellow at the Center of Energy to go to an interesting talk or sign up for a track. And actually the same goes for our clubs as well. So you can be member in as many clubs as you'd like to, both social and career. So if you're interested in consulting events or bankings, you don't need to be a member of a club. There's no membership fee. You can just go to events. You can go to club events, company events. So really, we try to provide you with as much access as we can. And our centers are committed to doing the same. So they absolutely welcome student interaction. They love seeing students that might not even consider or be interested in a specific career path go to events to broaden their horizons, learn more. So yes, absolutely. You do not need to be a member of the Center of Energy to go to any of their events. They just love to see you there. Question 2. What are ways for applicants to compensate for a low GPA? It's putting forth a strong application. So for one, I'd like to get away from a notion of compensating for a low GPA or compensating for a low GMAT. That's just one part of our admissions criteria of smart, accomplished, aware, and nice. So maybe you have not done as well in undergrad. Tell us why. Use the optional essay if there was something in particular that caused your grade to be lower than you think your aptitude is. Let us know about it. Use the optional essay to tell us what the reason might be. But then if you have strong test scores, if you have accomplished a lot since graduating, if you speak more to our criteria of aware and nice, then that's just, that's putting forth a strong application. So don't think that you need to compensate for your perceived falling short in one area, because we look at every single part of the application. All of the questions that are there, we ask them for a reason, because we do want to know more about you. We want to see your answers to those questions, and GPA is just a small part of it. We'll of course also look at the coursework that you took. So maybe your GPA is lower than you would like it to be, but you had a very challenging course load. Maybe you were an athlete, maybe you worked while in school. So really we don't just look at the number alone. We look at everything else that comes with it. Let's see. Is there any advantage in applying in round 1 over round 2? I might be slightly short on my GMAT score, 710, and I'm planning to retake to improve my GMAT score. I would say every application round is different. We don't know what the applicant pool is going to look like from round to round. They differ not just from round to round, but also from year to year. So apply when you think you have the strongest application, right? So you can still update your GMAT score if you apply round 1 and retake the test shortly after. There is no guarantee that we will receive your updated, hopefully higher score before we have read the application. So really, yes, there are differences. We don't know what they're going to be like, because we don't know yet who's going to apply in round 1 and what the pool is going to look like in round 2. So apply when you have the strongest application possible. That's to it. For the applicants from overrepresented categories, say Indian and T males, what do you think is a distinguishing factor to stand out? It's really speaking to smart, accomplished, aware, and nice. So tell us why Tuck. This year with our 3 essay questions, we really give you a lot of space in the application to tell us why you want an MBA, to tell us why Tuck, and even if you yourself might consider yourself as being from overrepresented category, just think about what makes you you, right? In our essay too, we ask us literally to tell us who you are. So putting an essay there is no right or wrong answers. That question is aimed at us learning about you and you telling us who you are. So I would say for this specific question, essay 1 and essay 2 are great ways for you to distinguish yourselves. But again, they're just part of your application. So think about how you can speak to us about the nice criteria where you land on smart. So think about that, and really to distinguishing yourself, regardless of who you are as an applicant, use the essays. We'd love to hear from you. So Essay 2 is a great vehicle to do that. Don't try to find things that are really unique just for the purpose of standing out. Tell us who you are, and that will already distinguish you from everyone else who's applying, because there's just one you. Let's see. How does Tuck facilitate the inclusion of families and significant others into the MBA experience? That's a great question. So for one, as I mentioned earlier, Hanover is a small community. It's local. We have many students come with partners, children, and the Tuck Partners Club and network is quite extensive. So they will be doing many, many events. There'll be many company events that will come to campus, and big employers will host events specifically for Tuck partners and families, just to tell them how life is for a Tuck graduate when they join the firm, and what the family part there looks like. But there are so many events for Tuck partners, for children. Just thinking of one example, on Halloween, October 31st, Tuck usually does a Tiny Tuckies Halloween parade. So partners will bring their children, and the little kids will dress up in their very cute costumes. And then they'll walk around Tuck, and all of the departments will be giving out candy or doing arts and crafts projects. So there's really a lot going on. Just bring your time, bring your family, bring your partners, bring time, and the community will embrace you fully. So if you are thinking about coming to visit campus, one great way for you to get a feel for it would be to either see if your partner can join you, or to email the admissions office or call us and let us know that your partner is coming, or that you would like to meet with a current student's partner. And the community is usually very, very generous with their time. So chances are that somebody will sit down with you and tell you more about life as a Tuck partner, life with children, life in the Upper Valley. So there's a lot going on here. We want students, we want their families, we want everyone to be embraced in the community. So Tuck is doing an excellent job at that. Let's see. In employment history section of the application, can we list internships and other part-time jobs held during undergrad? Yes, you can. You don't have to. So we feel that your full-time work experience that's after you graduate from college gives us more, especially on the accomplished criteria. However, if you have done any internships that you feel strongly about telling the committee, include them. That's fine. You'll see that you'll be able to list up to your 4 previous employers in the employment section. So again, if you feel strongly about an internship and you really think that it adds to your application, include that. Otherwise, feel free to leave it out. Again, we focus strongly on the full-time post-undergraduate work experience. The same goes for part-time jobs, unless it's unless you want to tell us about your undergraduate experience as a whole, or maybe speak more to your GPA, or explain if you having a part-time job prevented you from participating in as many clubs as you would have liked to, or other activities. You can speak more to that. Again, feel free to use the optional essay for it. But generally, I would say focus on the full-time work experience that you've had after you graduated from college. What is the Tuck? I'm trying to understand. What is the Tucky thing that's unique to them? So for one, I'm not frozen in time. I'm just trying to think of the best answer to the question. I'm doing my best to understand it. Our students are very collaborative. So aside from them being smart, accomplished, and very nice, they really work well together in a team, because if you think of it, it's the student body here, the 280 plus students that do come to Hanover to get their full-time MBA program in 2 years. They're really coming knowing that they will be immersed in this community for 2 years. So as I mentioned during my presentation, they all work closely together with each other. And so this collaboration and this spirit, I think, makes us stand apart from any of the other programs. But it's also, you learn to work with different people. There will be instances where you disagree with your teammates. There might be a person that you don't fully feel on the same wavelength in your study group, and you learn to work through those differences. You learn to challenge thoughtfully. You learn, as I mentioned, wise leadership. So I think that's something that really makes Tuckies unique in a sense. That's one of the qualities that sets it apart. And we hear it, for example, from employers that come to talk to recruit our students, that Tuck students, Tuck graduates do really well in team settings. So any group cases, projects, they really can get along with everyone. They can work well, not even get along, they can work well and effectively be effective in any group and any situation they're put in. So if I had to highlight one thing, that would probably be it. Are there any plans to start part-time or executive MBA programs? None that I'm aware of for this year. We're going to have just the full-time MBA program, but again, not as of now. We're still very much focused on just the full-time immersive 2-year experience. Do you place more emphasis on your applicants' academic ability or on the richness and quality of their work experience? So not career projection in terms of promotions, but career trajectory in terms of additional responsibilities and job rotations. Both, right? We, as I mentioned before, smart and accomplished are two of our criteria. So yes, of course, we do want to see candidates that have shown their academic aptitude, that were in a similar environment, maybe an undergraduate, and were able to succeed while also having different commitments, being members of clubs, contributing to their communities. So is academic performance important? Absolutely. It's one of the pieces in your applications that we'll look at. But the quality of work experience, of course, is one big factor in the application. That's where the accomplished piece, or at least a big part of it, comes from. We do look at progression in your career, but we also understand that there are some firms or industries, or even in individual cases, where an applicant's responsibility might have increased. They're now having more leadership, more teamwork, and yet their title has not changed. So be sure to point that out to us. So if on your resume it looks like you've been in the same role for 3 years or 4 years, or just random number here, but your responsibility has been growing over time, your impact at the company has been growing over time, try to tell that story in the resume as much as you can, but also tell it to us, maybe in the optional essay. If your company has a strict timeline for promotions and it's just too early for you and there are no exceptions to it, tell us about it. If you're in the industry where promotions, or at a company where promotions only happen if somebody else vacates the position, tell us about it. We'd like to learn about it, but it's seeing progression on paper does not mean that we'll just be looking at the titles and the title change. No, we want you to explain to us if something is out of the ordinary, why that's the case. And again, your resume is a great vehicle, great document to show that too. So just speak of the interesting projects you've done, quantify the numbers, tell us what you've been doing since you graduated. And at the risk of repeating myself, we really do look at everything in your application. So if that's something that you'd like to highlight in any part of the application, it will be read. So just make sure to speak to that, and it absolutely counts and absolutely matters, yes. Let's see, do we have any more questions? In what ways do the small class size and remote location give Tuck an advantage in developing global leaders? So as I mentioned, for one, you will learn from excellent faculty. So the faculty that are here, they teach classes. You will see them, you will have access to them beyond just the class size, and they're excellent in what they do. They're very active in the community. So that's absolutely one part of it. You will learn leadership from them. There's a lot of courses, especially in the second year electives, that will help you develop as a leader in a more structured ways. As I was talking in my presentation, the FYP or the FYP Go requirement, the global consulting projects, there's a lot there that will help you develop as a leader. There will be a lot of structure behind that, but there'll also be, you'll have a lot of freedom to choose which way you want to go. That's one. The second part, and it's sort of to the question that I answered earlier, is you learn from your classmates. So leadership is something that you will learn in your study groups, in the classes, day in, day out. One, through the formal teaching methods. The second one is really from learning to collaborate and lead teams. So not just the Tuck Go and FYP projects, but also if you work in a small study group and you have to present on a project or drive some assignment, you will learn leadership there. You will learn to work with people from different backgrounds, different experiences, regardless of how well you agree with each other. You learn to work through differences. This empathy piece is very important to wise leadership. So that's something that will be great in basically everything that you do at Tuck. If I cannot visit Tuck, what are the different ways I can explore the school and its culture? Well, for one, you can come to some of our events. I mean, we have many events, not just across the United States, but across the globe. So take a look at our calendar. If there's anything near you, sign up for a coffee chat with one of us or our executive director, sign up for an info session. Find a Tuck alum that's near you, or maybe in an industry that you're coming from, or in a position that you hope to pursue after Tuck, and reach out to them. Reach out to current students too. So again, think back to the aware piece. So look at both who you are, where you hope the Tuck and the MBA will take you, and try to see if there are other Tuck students enrolled right now or recent alums that have taken a similar path, and reach out and talk to them. Clearly, you're already on the right path there because you are attending this event. So virtual events are a great way to get to know Tuck in addition to it. And this may sound simple, but just looking at not just but the school's application in general. So I think when you look at the application that you are filling out for Tuck or any of the other programs, look at their essay questions, look at what they ask you, because if you look at the question and it does not speak to you at all, or you just don't fully understand why it's there in the first place, or you start writing an answer and it feels like a chore, then that might say something about the fit, right? So if you look at a school's application and you feel that the essays do speak to you and they excite you, and yes, of course, it's difficult to write a good answer, but it makes you engage. It's it's less of a chore to write it, and you're excited about it. Then that's something that tells you more about the fit and the school's culture too. And again, I don't think it's the case just for Tuck. I think you can learn a lot about the schools by just looking at their application, especially looking at their application essays. Last question. Really think about the gaps in your knowledge, in your experience, and what it is that you hope an MBA will fill. So think deeply about whether it's the right time in your career right now, and what gaps in knowledge you're hoping to fill. Sorry, there was something going on with the camera, so I got a little bit off track. But just visit as many schools as you can. Start maybe with online events, start going to some of the schools' events, but then as you consider an MBA, as you start considering specific schools, try to go and visit their campuses. It really gives you a very good feel for the school, the culture, and whether you can actually see yourself there. You also need to have, or somewhat have, an understanding of where you are in on your career path, and do you want an MBA to progress further in the field that you're in right now, or do you want to switch careers? So I think there's a lot of introspection that needs to go into it initially. So think about the question, the essay question, think about why MBA, right? Think about why is it that you actually need an MBA? Why is it that you want an MBA? From there on, take it to why the specific schools. And once you've narrowed it down, start looking at the schools that you're considering more closely. Something I've heard from our students over and over is that they wish they had visited more campuses initially when considering the schools, because this way you can both rule out some of the schools that might not be a good fit for you, but also really fall in love with the ones that you feel strongly about. So I think this was the last question for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Thank you for being here, interested in Tuck. If you can sign up for an interview, come and visit us. Come to any of the events that are near you. We'd love to learn more about you. If you have any questions, really feel free to reach out to our office too. We're here to help. We really, when we say this, we really mean it. So we are always open to and accepting of interactions with candidates. We'd love to hear from you. So let us know how we can help you through this journey of both applying through MBA and hopefully later from attending hopefully Tuck. So yeah, thank you, and have a wonderful rest of the day.